Hi, Matt Noyes. Sunday evening, looking out to the week ahead. Our evening essentials, as we call it here at 1 Degree Outside Weather Network. Things are getting more active. You're going to have a couple systems to track this week. No better way to do it than our totally free weather app, Noyes' 1 Degree Outside Weather. You can search for it on the App Store or Google Play. It'll pop right up for you. All right, meanwhile, I have our Saturday night special we got this weekend. We picked up half a foot of snow in some parts of Maine and Vermont, 4 inches of snow in Plymouth, New Hampshire, 3 inches in Williamsburg, Mass, out in Western Mass, and then an inch in Newburyport. But, you got that coating all the way down to the Cape. We told you that was a possibility, right? Mashpee picking up a dusting as everything blew on through. There goes this system, and here comes the next one. Energy coming in from the north in the jet stream, and then a little bundle of moisture coming out of the Gulf of Mexico. That'll get brought into this thing, but that carries warmer air with it. So after being chilly tonight, low temperatures down below freezing under variable clouds, we'll expect to find things rebounding tomorrow. Here's the overnight lows tonight. You can find where you're going to be. Again, most of us are going to be sub-freezing. And then getting into the day tomorrow, it starts out with some sun. The clouds increase, and it gets a little messy later on. I'm going to dive into that here in a second. Notice your temperature is going to top out in the 40s in southern New England, 30s in the north. And so in between, you get a bit of a mix. Here's how it's going to go. Radar forecast. 1:15 in the afternoon, rain has come in green. You've got a little mix in pink that shows up in southern Vermont on the eastern slopes of the Berkshires, and then that's going to carry up the Green Mountains as well. For a lot of us, it's around 3 o'clock that you're going to start to get into this rain. And if you're in far northern Worcester County, like Ashburnham, right up near the state line, far northwest Middlesex County, you probably get a little bit of a mix to get things started out, maybe even a little coating of snow, and then you'd end up going to rain. Notice by 6 p.m., though, the snow has filled in for much of central and northern New England, at least away from the coastline. It snows into the overnight, and then eventually it shuts down in the second half of the night, Monday night, so that by Tuesday morning, it's leftover ice and snow on some of the roads in northern New England, and the temperature's still above freezing when you get to the southern half of New England, with Tuesday really a bit of an uneventful day. So how much snow are you going to get out of this late Monday night thing, right? Nothing for a lot of southern New England. But again, northern Worcester, northwest Middlesex County, a coating. Maybe you squeeze out an inch right at the state line. Same thing as you come up 93 north of Derry, you've got a chance for a little coating on the front side of this thing, but it's an inch or a little bit more than that when you get up from Manchester to Hooksett, Concord, maybe about 2. And then the farther north and west you go up by 89, the more you get into what would be 2, 3, 4 inches of snow up by Washington. You do the same thing when you come out of I-91 and out of the Connecticut River Valley. Elevation makes a big difference. Western Vermont doing pretty well, picking up probably on the order of 6, but maybe 8 when you get to some of the mountain summits. We get farther to the north, and we're talking about the same type of setup where it's a little bit elevation dependent. The Lakes region generally 2 inches in the light blue, 3 and 4 as you make your way up toward Wolfboro. Come farther north to Meredith or up through Plymouth, you may have some spots of 6 when you get into some of the high terrain. And then the purple is where you can line that up with the legend at the top, maybe 8 inches of snow across some of the whites and presidentials. There'll be a little bit of shadowing as we've had in recent events on the northwest side of the whites. That basically means you get less precipitation, therefore less snow. And as we've been having recently too in the northern greens, you'll pick up locally higher amounts. The Great North snowmobile country, very much in the same boat here, kind of a widespread 2 to 4, but the deeper blues and purples, 6 and 8 that show up in spots. I think we do the same thing in the Maine mountains. As you come down to the Maine coast, the mid coast actually probably gets a couple of inches of snow. That's not the case when you get to Portland. We get more of a mix that comes in. It's also actually not the case in northern Maine, where you start to outrun some of that moisture and you get less, only about a coating to an inch when you get around Holton, for example. So again, that system kind of comes racing through. Once it's gone, Tuesday, you've got these showers here and there. There's not a lot of precipitation during the day on Tuesday, but Tuesday evening and night into Wednesday, here comes a slug of rain. This one's got a lot of warm air with it. We're going to find temperatures rebounding to the 50s in southern New England on Wednesday. You get 1 to 2 inches of rain. It's going to cause ponding of water in the areas that have a snowpack. There's going to be runoff, melting. It's going to be kind of a mess as a result of that. If you can get the drains open in parts of northern New England, it'd be a really good idea. It does go back to snow on the backside Wednesday night. Mostly that's for New York, but the Green Mountains will already start to get some snow on the backside of this thing Wednesday night. I think the better recovery, particularly for the mountains of Vermont and the northwest-facing slopes of New Hampshire, is the lake effect snow machine fires up again Thursday as cold air returns. So look what that does. It lights us up again on the western and northwestern slopes. So you'll try to recover a little bit anyway of what you lose from the mild rain on Wednesday. School day feels like forecast. Tomorrow's really kind of a cakewalk for the most part. Again, later in the day is a little bit different. As we talked about, 3 o'clock, the precipitation begins on average for many of us in central and eastern New England, with a mix in northern New England. It may lead to some school delays and cancellations in the northern half of New England on Tuesday. The rest of us probably not. And then Wednesday is that day that we jump into the 50s. It'll feel like the 40s with the rain. Reminder, you can grab the merch at swag.onedegreeoutside.com. Hope this gives you a nice, robust beginning to your week in terms of knowing what's coming up for the weather. You can always get the updates, including first thing tomorrow morning. We'll have it up at onedegreeoutside.com. Of course, on all of our social media channels as well, and atop our app home screen. Have a great start to the week.